Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Dragon Ball Daima broke the internet, even crashing the servers on Crunchyroll. People have been reporting that the server's been crashed for trying to see the episode for Dragon Ball Daima, and we all knew this. When this form coming, this is one of the most popular, iconic forms in Dragon Ball, and one of the fans' favorites. One of the best things to come out of Dragon Ball GT and still loved to this day. So by them bringing it to Dragon Ball Daima, it was one of the best decisions ever, even it being something inspired. But in this video, we're going to talk about a lot of details that led to the keys of what inspired Super Saiyan 4 and the clues that they kind of alluded to. And I had videos drop months before, and I think there was a couple of people that also dropped a couple of videos months before, and not talking about people who had the inside look into the series, but there was a lot of clues also. And what confirmed it for me was Akira Yoku's latest interview that came out days before this episode. And at that interview dropping, it confirmed it all for me that Super Saiyan 4 is coming. And the thing to this is that there's a couple things I'm going to touch on about Dragon Ball Daima, of what it is. And in that interview, he kind of explained it, but a lot of things went over people's heads, and a lot of clues he kind of alluded to in this interview about Dragon Ball Daima. And the first thing was, the obvious was it being an inspiration from Dragon Ball GT. That was primary right then and there. But what he stated also that a lot of people didn't talk about was that what he said, it really wasn't about them trying to come up with anything new, like even down to the forms or anything like that. They was not trying to create new forms, like a new Super Saiyan form or anything. They was going to just touch on things that was already there and unravel, like pretty much uncover things that was already there, like peeling layers to things that's already been put into the series. That was a second confirmation that a lot of people doesn't talk about when it comes to that interview from Akio. And by him saying that, it let me know, like, okay, hey, what can they put a new transformation without it really being new? And the only thing is, once they confirm that this is inspired by Dragon Ball GT, the only thing next to come is Super Saiyan 4 or Golden Uzaru, which there's still time to get a Golden Uzaru with these last two episodes of Dragon Ball Daima, but we got Super Saiyan 4, and I'm perfectly fine with that. And I've always wanted this, and this is something that Akira Toriyama ended up gracing his fans with, giving us Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. So there was a lot of clues to this. But something I noticed also is that as you watch Dragon Ball Daima, and what Akil said in the interview of why him and Toriyama came up with the series was to pretty much bring people to, I could kind of say, Dragon Ball Daima, after looking at the series in hindsight, Dragon Ball Daima is the overview of all of Dragon Ball all in one. And we knew this from all the Easter eggs and things that they put into the show. We're taking bits and pieces from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, and Dragon Ball Heroes. So they took lots of bits and pieces from all the different anime of Dragon Ball and put it together in the show. And as you watch Dragon Ball Daima from beginning to end, you kind of start off with glimpse of Dragon Ball Z, going backwards to Dragon Ball, then working itself up back to Dragon Ball Z with glimpse of Heroes here and there. And now we're at the end, which Dragon Ball GT was the end of the Dragon Ball series for a long time, and we had Super Saiyan 4. So by us getting close to the climax of the show and ending, we got Super Saiyan 4, and it just brought everything back full circle. But the other thing too is looking at the fight between Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Gomah, King Gomah at that. As you can see, this fight kind of mirrors a little bit of Goku fighting Grade 8 baby Vegeta in Dragon Ball GT, but also Dragon Ball Super as well, with the glow around his body acting as if like an Ultra Instinct, but also with Gomah already looking like a Pride Trooper and jacked up like Jiren. He starts to power up the same way Jiren does, almost having like an infinite amount of power, where Goku powered up in Master Ultra Instinct, and Jiren decided to go full power and even buffed up even more than usual and went even crazier. So there's a lot of different mirrors of things that people haven't really caught on to, or some people did and some people hasn't. But you're starting to see it kind of mirror both of those end of those animes put together in that fight. You see a mirror of Goku and Jiren, and a mirror of Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus Baby Vegeta. So after looking at this, I'm like, it's very interesting how they did it, and almost like a masterpiece and almost genius at a certain point when you look at just all the stuff that they put in. And they even reference in the interview stating that if you go back and watch the series after completing it, you're going to see a lot more hidden, gems that they pretty much sprinkled throughout the series, and information and clues to a lot of stuff. So I've been watching the show back in the English dub version as those episodes come out, along with the Japanese episodes that's airing current. But I'm starting to see a lot more, and it's not just only for Dragon Ball Daima, but just the pure existence of Dragon Ball Daima. And so much was said in that interview, which just connected all the dots even more to a lot of the theories that was going on in Dragon Ball Daima. And you could kind of see just everything playing reference, like Neva is playing the role of the old Supreme Kai, with him being the one to help Goku reach the Super Saiyan 4 transformation. And Dragon Ball GT, the old Kai had to pull his tail out. Now, this may also lead to them figuring out a way to bridge Dragon Ball GT to the actual continuity, and maybe either revise it or maybe not. But one thing I would say is that as we look at the breakdown of Super Saiyan 4 in this episode and his battle with Gomah, we definitely got to see lots of mirrors of Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super, with Jiren's fight with Goku and Baby Vegeta's fight with Goku, and even some aspects of Goku versus Omega Shenron. And of course, we got the Red Porunga, which was pretty much a merger of Porunga and the Black Star Dragon, and we end up having that to create that form. So it's all just pretty much just giving homages to Dragon Ball GT in many different ways, with glimpse of other Dragon Ball medias right now. Like I said, we have the everything. If you follow this the show structure, like I said, it starts off in basic Dragon Ball Z, or like more of a super type of stand base, but it later on, when they go back to kids, it turns to adventure like Dragon Ball. Then it starts to become like Dragon Ball Z once we start getting the fights and the power up, and we get Super Saiyan, and everyone is surprised of the Super Saiyan transformation. And then later on, we get more increasing levels of Super Saiyan 2, to later on we're getting a Buu, which we're like in the Buu arc, and then we're getting Super Saiyan 3 around that time, and then now we're getting Super Saiyan 4. So is this all play of showing the Dragon Ball arcs in a different way, because that was their whole job, to pretty much bring more people to Dragon Ball and make them get caught up to see what it's all about. And they're pretty much doing a refresher of all the Dragon Balls in one show. You could kind of just say Dragon Ball Daima is the summary show, which it gives a summary of Goku's life in the beginning of each episode. So that's pretty much what this show was created, to give a summary of all the Dragon Ball and kind of bridge all those medias together for people to get an understanding. So that's it for this video. Tune in with us for more videos coming, and we got a lot more information, so stay tuned. And like I said, we can't wait for the next episode, which is Betrayal. Most likely, it's a big possibility that Glorio may just wish for everyone to be adults and they get their adult bodies back, and this may also power up Goku and the others to be another form. Maybe we may get adult Super Saiyan 4 in this, or maybe we might just go ahead and get the fusion bugs. Who knows? So still more to see, and I'm out.